The video came through at exactly 9:17 p.m. At first I assumed my aunt had sent it to me by accident. There was no message attached, no explanation at all. Just a 43-second clip from a family gathering I hadn't been invited to attend. I tapped play. My brother was laughing. My mother nodded as if she agreed with everything being said. Then I heard the sentence that made my entire body freeze. "She's a pathetic failure." The room burst into laughter. For years I had quietly paid their mortgage, covered medical expenses, and made sure the lights stayed on whenever money became tight. None of them realized I was watching. None of them knew another mortgage payment was scheduled in just 3 days. This time I said nothing. My name is Rachel Bennett. I'm 38 years old, and for nearly my entire life, my family has treated me like the disappointment they simply had to tolerate. Not because I was reckless, not because I caused trouble, and certainly not because I failed. The only real reason was that I wasn't my younger brother Jason. Jason had always been the golden child. While we were growing up, every accomplishment he achieved was celebrated as though it were national news. If he earned a B on an exam, my parents called relatives to tell them. If he changed jobs for the 3rd time in a single year, they praised his entrepreneurial spirit. Meanwhile, I graduated from college with honors, built a dependable career in financial consulting, and supported myself completely. My reward for all of that? Being told I lacked ambition. It never really made sense, but after hearing it for so many years, I eventually stopped trying to convince them otherwise. Instead, I poured my energy into my career. As time passed, something happened that no one in my family ever seemed to notice. I quietly became the person who solved all of their problems. When my father's business began struggling, I stepped in and covered several mortgage payments. When my mother required a medical procedure that insurance refused to pay for completely, I paid the remaining balance. Whenever unexpected utility bills arrived during difficult months, I took care of those as well. Nobody pressured me into doing it. I helped because they were my family. Month after month, money disappeared from my account and showed up in theirs. Most of the time, there wasn't even a simple thank you. There was only the expectation that I would continue helping. And for years, I did. Then the video arrived. It was Thursday evening. I'd just finished eating dinner when my phone vibrated. The message came from my Aunt Linda. There wasn't any text attached, no explanation, only a video file. I assumed she had sent it on purpose. Maybe it was footage from a family gathering I'd missed. Maybe someone had celebrated a birthday. Something innocent. I pressed play. The recording showed my parents' living room. My mother sat comfortably on the couch. My father stood beside the fireplace. Jason held a drink in his hand while laughing at something. At first, everything looked perfectly normal. Then I heard my name. "Rachel acts like she's so successful." Jason said. The room laughed. A tight knot formed in my stomach. My mother slowly shook her head. "Honestly, she's a pathetic failure." More laughter followed. My father smiled. "She should be grateful we even put up with her." Jason lifted his glass. "Imagine being almost 40 and still thinking you're important." The room erupted into laughter once again. I couldn't move. I couldn't blink. I couldn't even convince myself to stop watching. 43 seconds. That was the entire length of the video. Just 43 seconds somehow erased years of excuses I had made for them. I watched it again, then I watched it a 3rd time. Each replay hurt even more than the one before because there was no misunderstanding, no missing context, no joke taken the wrong way. They meant every single word. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Aunt Linda. The moment I answered, she gasped. "Oh my God, Rachel, that wasn't supposed to go to you." My chest tightened instantly. Silence. A long, awkward silence. Finally, she spoke quietly. "The family group chat." I thanked her before ending the call. Then I sat alone in my living room, staring blankly at the wall. For the first time in my life, I stopped making excuses for people who had never truly appreciated me. Eventually, I opened my banking app. A scheduled transfer appeared on the screen. 3 days from now, another mortgage payment for my parents. My finger hovered over the display. For the first time in years, I honestly wondered what would happen if I simply chose to do nothing. I didn't cancel the payment right away. For almost an hour, I sat staring at my phone while the scheduled mortgage transfer remained on the screen. Part of me still wanted to believe there had been some kind of misunderstanding. Maybe they hadn't really meant what they said. Maybe the video had captured one terrible moment. Maybe all those years of sacrifice and financial support still meant something to them. But every time I replayed the recording, those excuses disappeared. Their laughter sounded too genuine, too effortless. Those weren't people saying something they didn't believe. They were saying exactly what they truly thought. 3 days later, the payment date finally arrived. At 8:00 that morning, I opened my banking app. Then I canceled the transfer. One click. Years of automatic financial support ended with a single tap. I expected to feel guilty. Instead, I felt strangely peaceful. It was almost as though I had finally set down a burden I hadn't even realized I'd been carrying. The first few days passed quietly. Nobody called, nobody texted, nobody noticed. That hurt more than I expected. I'd spent years helping keep their lives together, and they hadn't even realized the support had disappeared. A week later, my phone rang. It was my mother. "Rachel, have you been having problems with your bank?" I already knew exactly where the conversation was heading. "What do you mean?" "The mortgage payment didn't go through." I took a slow breath. "Oh, just one word." "Oh." There was a brief pause before she continued. "Can you check on it? Not how are you, not thank you, just fix it." "I've been busy," I replied calmly. "Maybe you should call the bank." The silence that followed felt unfamiliar. My mother wasn't accustomed to hearing the word no, especially from me. 2 days later, my father called, then Jason, then my mother again. Every conversation unfolded the same way. They sounded confused, concerned, annoyed, but not one of them apologized. Not one of them mentioned the video. It was as though the only real problem was that the money had stopped arriving. By the second week, overdue notices began showing up. My father complained about them constantly. Jason grew more frustrated by the day. Apparently, some of his own financial issues had become connected to my parents' situation. For the first time, nobody had a safety net. Suddenly, everyone was panicking. One evening, my phone buzzed with a message from Aunt Linda. "Can we talk?" A few minutes later, we were sitting together inside a quiet coffee shop. She looked nervous, ashamed. "I owe you an apology," she said. "For sending the video?" She slowly shook her head. "No, for not stopping it sooner." A cold chill ran through my body. "What do you mean?" Linda lowered her eyes toward her coffee. "Rachel, that wasn't a one-time conversation." My stomach sank. They talked like that all the time. Those words hurt even more than the video itself because somewhere deep inside, I had convinced myself it was just one isolated moment, a bad joke. A lapse in judgment, something unusual. Instead, it had been completely normal. Years of support, years of sacrifice, years spent helping them survive difficult times. And behind my back, they still saw me as nothing more than a failure that night. I made a decision. Not because I wanted revenge. Not because I was angry. Because I finally respected myself. The financial support was finished completely, permanently.